Hello, this is the PERA overview for general members. My name is Christina Gauthier. I'm the Public Relations Coordinator for PERA's Albuquerque office. Congratulations on your new job. You are now a member of one of the best retirement plans in the country. And I'm sure you're thinking, today is my very first day of work. Why should I be thinking about retirement? That is because no one comes to work for the government to get rich. We come here to work for benefits that are outstanding, and this is one of the benefits the city has selected to reward its employees. PERA was born in 1947 as the state's retirement plan. It has since grown to cover 31 plans. PERA is designated by the IRS as a 401A as an apple, which is known as a lifetime annuity. PERA has over 60,000 active members and 40,000 retirees who receive a lifetime monthly pension benefit. PERA is governed by a 12-member board of trustees. The seats are comprised of representatives from the state, municipal, and county employees, as well as retirees, the Secretary of State, and the State Treasurer. The Board of Trustees oversees PERA's trust fund, which retirement benefits are paid from and is protected by the New Mexico Constitution. In basic terms, your retirement cannot be touched for anything other than funding your retirement and PERA agency operations. Why do you need a retirement plan? Recent studies have shown that half of U.S. families have no retirement savings at all. No one wants to work forever. I know, we ask members all across the state of New Mexico during presentations on the road, and out of all of those presentations, we've had roughly 5 people raise their hands. This is a mandatory participation plan, and the city is doing you a favor by requiring you to participate so that you can have a lifetime pension waiting for you when you complete your career. How does it work? During new employee orientation, the city is going to ask you to complete a member enrollment form designating your start date in our organization. You are classified at PERA as a Tier 1 member if you began employment in a PERA-eligible position on or before June 30th of 2013 and had member contributions in your PERA account. The other way to be designated as a Tier 1 member is to be retired as of June 30th, 2013. Tier 1 members are vested in our retirement system after completing 5 years of PERA service credit. You are designated as Tier 2 if you were hired into a PERA-eligible position by a PERA affiliate on or after July 1st of 2013, or if you had previously worked for a PERA-related entity, refunded your contributions, had a zero balance on June 30th of 2013, and become re-employed July 1st of 2013 or later, even if you repay PERA those refunded contributions. Tier 2 members of our general plans are vested after 8 years of service credit. So I'm sure you're wondering, what does vesting actually mean? Once you are vested in our retirement system, PERA is required to hold on account a lifetime benefit in your name, provided you do not refund those contributions upon separation of service. The other piece of paper that the City of Albuquerque is going to ask you to complete during the new employee orientation process is PERA's Beneficiary Designation Form. PERA has 2 types of beneficiaries that you will designate at this time. Your refund beneficiary, just as the name implies, is eligible to receive a refund of your biweekly contributions and any interest paid on that account if you pass away prior to vesting in our retirement system. From the moment you vest, or if you pass away as a result of a duty-related death, your survivor beneficiary would be entitled to lifetime pension payments in your name. Making sure that you designate an appropriate beneficiary who will honor your wishes if you pass away is of the utmost importance. When I first hired into a PERA-eligible position at the City of Albuquerque, the HR folks I had interned with actually pulled me aside and said, do not name your significant other as your beneficiary. I didn't understand then, but I do understand now that if I had designated that significant other and we broke up later, If I forgot to update my beneficiary designation at PERA, there is a chance that PERA would have paid my ex instead of somebody who would honor my wishes. So making sure that you keep your beneficiary designation up to date is of the utmost importance. As a member of PERA, your salary is subject to member and employer contributions. Every 2 weeks, when your entity closes out its payroll, it will withhold a set percentage based on the plan you are participating in PERA under, which was selected by the city long before you hired in. Those rates are set by state statute and are mandatory. Every 2 weeks, depending on your salary, either 13.15% or 14.65% of your gross salary will be withheld from your paycheck and sent to PERA tied to your Social Security number. That withholding is deposited into a bucket tied to your social and is yours whether you retire or you separate service and request a refund or rollover. The employer contributions, currently set at 9.8%, is withheld as well and sent to PERA through the payroll system and is deposited into a separate bucket at PERA. Employer contributions are non-refundable. They are utilized to pay lifetime pension benefits after your employee contributions are paid out in full. The other items referenced on this table include a pension factor. Pension factor is a tricky piece of terminology because unless you work for PERA, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Your pension factor is actually tied to the plan that you were hired into and your tier status at PERA. Tier 1 members of Municipal Plan 3 earn 3% for every year worth of service credit accrued in our system. Tier 2 members under Municipal Plan 3 will earn 2.5% toward their retirement calculation each year of service credit that is recorded. Each and every member, regardless of tier, is eligible to reach 90% maximum of their final average salary at the time of retirement. In order to reach this 90% maximum, a Tier 1 member would need to complete 30 years of service credits, whereas a Tier 2 member would need to complete 36 years. Obviously, no one is required to work that long. We will talk a little bit later in this presentation about your eligibility to retire sooner, but as you will discover, the city has several employees who have well exceeded that 90% threshold in terms of years of service credit. So if you're thinking that can't be done, I promise you it can. At the minimum, PERA is required to pay out your employee contributions and interest to either you through a lifetime pension benefit, your designated beneficiary if you pass away during retirement, or if you and your beneficiary, heaven forbid, pass at the same time, we would pay any residual employee contributions or interest to your estate. So it's really important to make sure you take some time to consider making an estate plan or designating in your will what should happen with any refund of employee contributions. PERA does not allow any member who is actively employed to borrow from their contribution balance or take an emergency distribution because of the type of retirement plan we are designated as under the IRS. So if you are having financial issues, unfortunately your retirement account is not accessible while you are actively employed. If you separate service, you may be eligible to take a refund or a rollover of those balances. However, taxes and penalties may apply. Earning service credit. So today, being somewhere near the very first day you became a city employee, you do not get instant service credit for showing up for 1 day of work. Service credit at PERA is based on 3 pieces of information. First and foremost, dates are super important where PERA is concerned. At the bottom of your member enrollment form, your HR staff is actually certifying to us your first day of employment. As long as that date happens to fall on or before the 16th day of the month, you have met 1/2 of the requirement for earning service credit for your first month of employment. When the time comes for you to separate employment, whether it's by choice, by force, or to retire, if you leave employment prior to the 15th day of the month, that month will not count for service credit. The last factor that is used to determine monthly service credit is your salary. Each and every month, from the first month you are employed to the last month you are employed, you must be reported to PERA as having earned no less than half of your normal salary as a full-time employee. If you are designated as part-time in your hiring paperwork that comes to PERA and you are employed less than 30 hours per week, you need to reach out to PERA, which will provide that contact information later, to determine how service credit requirements apply to you, as PERA experienced a rule change in 2014. Provided that you are not part-time, the only requirement for full-time employees related to salary is that you cannot earn less than half of your normal salary each and every month. I'm sure you're thinking, how is that possible if I'm full-time? You need to be aware that if you take things like family medical leave or workers' compensation benefits or leave without pay for more than half of any month, it can impact your service credit earnings in your retirement system. Earning service credit is separate from other types of service credit you may be eligible to purchase or earn. Purchased and free service credit. Individuals who have worked for a PERA-related entity in the past, who have separated service and requested a refund of employee contributions, have the ability to purchase their refunded, withdrawn, or forfeited service credit once they have returned to employment under PERA and a minimum of 1 month of service credit has been posted to their account. Withdrawn service credit can be purchased in 1-year increments or in total, depending on your financial situation. PERA does not allow members to purchase less than 1 year of service credit, known as withdrawn, forfeited, or refunded, unless the member withdrew less than a year's worth of service. The next type of service credit you may hear around the office is known as airtime service credit. Airtime literally comes from taking service credit out of thin air and allows you to purchase up to 12 months of additional service credit after you are vested. The cost of airtime is based on the member's age, service credit, salary, and plan, and as a word of wisdom, individuals who are interested in purchasing this type of service credit after vesting should consider making that purchase earlier in their career, when they've had less birthdays, less service credit, and less raises, because each and every year as those things increase, your cost for airtime will continue to increase. No member can purchase more than 12 months of airtime service credit anytime during their career. The last type of service credit will be broken into 2 categories. For those individuals who have served active duty military during their lifetime, on behalf of PERA and myself, thank you for your service to our country. If you are called to active duty deployment while you are employed with the City of Albuquerque, you need to have a conversation with the City of Albuquerque's Insurance and Benefits Division before you deploy. There is a handful of paperwork that needs to be completed so that when you return from service and you are discharged, you can apply for active duty military, known as free military service credit, through PERA. If your military service credit accrued prior to the start of your employment with any PERA affiliate, you may be eligible to purchase that active duty military time prior to employment once you have vested in PERA's system. Members who have served active duty military prior to employment have the ability to purchase 1 month at a time up to a maximum of 60 months of their active duty military, provided that time can be certified on a DD-214 form or a set of orders. The cost for paid military service credit is based on the employee's salary and the employee and employer contribution rates we referenced on a previous slide. As your salary increases, the cost of military will grow as well. All right, so the reason we are all here, we would love to know when we are eligible to retire, even though this might be our very first day of PERA membership. For our Tier 1 members in the audience, Individuals who are designated as Tier 1 can retire with as little as 5 years of service credit. However, as you will see on the chart, you must also have 65 birthdays in place before you are retirement eligible. If you separate employment after 5 years of service credit, but you're nowhere near 65 birthdays, you have the ability to leave your PERA service credit and contributions on account, and you can come to PERA later, closer to your appropriate number of birthdays, and reach out and to determine when you should begin the retirement application process. When a Tier 1 member completes 25 years of service credit, PERA throws the birthday requirement out the window and allows the member to retire. The other age and service credit markers that you see on this table must be met on one line to be retirement eligible. You can't be 59 years of age and have 20 years of service credit and expect for PERA to retire you. These are minimums on each line. That being said, if you would like to continue working above and beyond these markers, PERA is not going to stop you, and it helps to increase your overall retirement benefit. For our Tier 2 members in the audience, you need to meet one of two eligibility requirements to draw a lifetime retirement benefit from PERA. With a minimum of 8 years, which is your vesting period, and 65 birthdays, a Tier 2 member is eligible to retire. If you would like to retire prior to 65 years of age, you must meet PERA's Rule of 85. In basic terms, your full years of age plus full years of service, with a minimum of 8 years of service credit, must add up to 85. So if you're sitting there thinking, how do I determine how long I need to work in order to be eligible for retirement under Tier 2, the little sample in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen shows you a sample calculation. If you take the number 85 and subtract your age at the time of hire, you will get a number. If you divide that number by 2, it will give you the approximate number of years of service credit you need to work before you are retirement eligible. If that calculation takes you over your 65th birthday, as long as you have a minimum of 8 years of service credit, you will be retirement eligible at age 65 with 8 years of service credit. Alright, so this lovely next term is rather complicated and may not apply to very many of you in the office. If you have questions about reciprocity above and beyond what we are going to cover here today, please feel free to contact PERA. Reciprocity is a somewhat complicated piece of terminology that does not apply to all members in the audience. In fact, fewer members have reciprocity now than they ever have in the past. Members who have reciprocity are those individuals who have worked under more than one state retirement system. PERA is one of those state retirement systems, but we have other pieces of our fund and a sister retirement plan known as the Educational Retirement Board that fall under the state retirement system structure. If you have service credit earned under PERA, the Educational Retirement Board, you've been a judge at any of the courts in the state of New Mexico, including the magistrate courts, as long as that service credit does not overlap and is non-refunded, you may be eligible to combine all of that service credit toward retirement. Members who have reciprocity retirement eligibility are required under the law to apply for retirement under the last state system they were employed under. For those individuals who have service credit in multiple systems, it is important to be aware that the service credit cannot be combined for the purposes of vesting, and each retirement system is required to retain their respective rules, regulations, calculations, including how retirement benefits and purchase agreements are calculated. Additionally, each system has different rules for earning a cost of living adjustment known as your raise in retirement, and each system must apply those rules to their respective pieces of service credit earnings. Here's where we're going to take a moment to relay an important note. If you are currently employed with an entity covered under the Educational Retirement Board or you are receiving a lifetime monthly benefit for service credit earned under the Educational Retirement Board, you need to notify the insurance and benefits specialist who is assisting you during your new employee orientation that you have either one of these conditions, so that you can be excluded from PERA membership, because individuals who are actively employed with the schools, colleges, or universities in New Mexico and are benefits eligible, or are drawing a lifetime retirement benefit that is not a survivor's benefit, are not eligible to participate in PERA. During new employee orientation, you receive a tremendous amount of information and you're being told that it's all super important. What I want you to take away from today's presentation is all of the information about your personal retirement account and our retirement system structure is available online. If you visit www.nmpera.org, you will find our website. At the top of the website, you will find a yellow button at the top of the page titled Rio Login. Once your first payroll is submitted to PERA through the City of Albuquerque and it is posted into your newly established or re-established account, officially you should be able to create a login, password, and user ID that you can remember so that you can check your tier status, make sure all of your demographic information was transmitted properly, and watch the accrual of your biweekly contributions and have access to lots of resources and tools at your fingertips. One of the additional benefits your insurance and benefits specialist is going to discuss with you is deferred compensation. PERA sponsors one of the 3 options that the City of Albuquerque offers to its employees. Quite honestly, I would love if you would pick our plan. However, I actually want you to take it a step further. I highly suggest that you interview each of the plan representatives and ask them a handful of questions. If you have no experience at all with the stock market, ask them what your investment options are. If it doesn't give you peace when the stock market rises and falls, each plan should have an option for you not to be as risky as your hard-earned dollars. Additionally, you need to ask them about the fees that are associated with each of the programs, because I assure you they are different. If a plan representative tells you that there is no fee for their plan, you need to point blank ask them, how do you earn your paycheck? Because nothing is free, and anything that is free, you might be getting what you're paying for. So, words of wisdom. When I first hired on to my very first PERA eligible position with the City of Albuquerque, I listened to all the words of wisdom the HR staff provided. Don't name your boyfriend as your beneficiary. When I separated service, I didn't take a refund of my PERA contributions. This is the one place I made a mistake. And so I should have started a deferred compensation account before I had a mortgage and babies and all the debt that comes with being an adult. And so I encourage you to put away a little bit of money out of your very early paychecks before you're establishing your budget. I promise you, you won't miss it, and when you get to the retirement finish line, you'll have a nice little nest egg to do with what you please or to cover expenses you may not have anticipated. The day that somebody comes to me and says, Christina, I've saved too much money, what do I do now? I presume I'll be out of a job. PERA would like to be your social media friend. We realize that not everybody opens their mail in a timely manner, and so we're doing our best to embrace the technological era. We have established accounts on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll be rolling out our YouTube channel soon with recorded videos and presentations and meetings. So we encourage you to follow along. This is one of the ways we expect to distribute information related to your retirement plan in a super timely manner without having to wait for mail to hopefully reach you. Last but not least, PERA has 2 offices. Our main office is in Santa Fe, which houses the majority of PERA's staff. That office is located off of Cerrillos Road next to the Santa Fe New Mexican Printing Press and the outlet mall that's based in Santa Fe. You are welcome to reach out to them, but for your convenience, PERA actually has an office here in Albuquerque that is situated off of the southeast corner of Manal in Louisiana in the Bank of Albuquerque Delta Dental Building. You You are welcome to visit either office, walk in, first come, first serve, anytime between Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On a side note, if it is a City of Albuquerque holiday or there's a weather-related closure that affects the schools and government offices in Albuquerque or Santa Fe, each respective office honors those closures as well. And so while you're enjoying your time with your family or you're being safe, PERA is doing the same. So for reference, I respond to the PERA-Albuquerque at state.nm.us email address. If you have questions, I'm happy to help you. One of my colleagues responds to the PERA member services address, and so we encourage you to come straight to the source for your retirement needs. The rumor mill is rampant at all of our PERA-related entities. You will find people spreading rumors amongst themselves, and that's never good. So we encourage you to reach out to the source if you have questions about your retirement or if you have any questions about this presentation in general.